I'm back. So let's get right to it. I read Glorious by Bernice L. McFadden back in October, November timeframe, I think it was. And here's my review. I took some notes as I was reading, and this is what I said. I love a book in which a character takes a journey and how the people they encounter along the way help to bend and mold and shape and stretch them into the person they ultimately become. I love to see their gains and losses, successes and failures, and the discoveries they make about themselves along the way. So that kind of sums up, my overall feeling of the book. I love it when a character takes a journey, and Easter Bartlett in this story does take us on a journey. She has a rough childhood, like so many of the characters that we read in these novels. She's able to overcome some adversity and get away from home. And she ends up meeting on the carnival circuit, a woman, or what would they be called? It would be called back in those days, it would be like a burlesque show. I don't know, I guess you would say. She meets a woman named Rain, and Rain has a tremendous influence and impact on her life. And Rain is carefree and free-spirited and confident and self-assured, and Easter wants to be like her, but she doesn't quite get there, It's like how we meet people in our lives that we really admire, and we're like, daggone, if I could be more like that person. But we just don't quite get there, and that's because you have to be who you are. You can't try to be someone else. But anyway, so she parts ways with Rain, and then she moves to New York, and she moves there with a friend from school, and they're roommates, and they coexist, pretty somewhat happily, coexist. And she gets to meet people through this friend. She gets a job. She meets a man, all those things. But Easter's biggest dream is to become a writer. And she is a wonderful writer, and people take note of her skill, her talent of writing. And she ends up getting a sponsor. You may not know, I'd heard this before, but a lot of Black artists, whether they artists, singers, musicians, writers, etc., during the Harlem Renaissance period, would end up with these white sponsors who would, quote unquote, take care of them, help spread the word about them, help them to expand their base of fans, if you will. And so Easter does end up with a sponsor, and things happen from there that I don't want to tell you because I don't want to spoil the book. But all I kept thinking about, and it's even on this back cover, what happens to the dream deferred? So I would say my criticism of this book would be that there's a series of events that occurs, and you're awaiting the outcome because you know what's getting ready to happen. And then it happens, and then there's a time jump. And I was like, what? Wait a minute, what? What happened? What happened? I want to know what happened with Easter between there, here, and there. I need to know. There's something missing there. I want to know what did she endure physically, mentally, emotionally during this particular period. It's alluded to the closer you get to the book. It's alluded to, but I wanted to go through that with her, if that makes any sense. And then at the end, there's another series of events that occur, and I think I know what's going to happen, and it doesn't. Dang on it. She got me. Bernice got me with this one. So, yeah, it's a very interesting story, and the journey, I like the journey that Easter takes us on. One thing I have to stop doing is comparing all of her books to Harlan and Sugar and just appreciate them on their own. But, I just wanted to know a little bit more. I feel like there was a big opportunity to get us from one place to another with this character, and that is missing. Is missing. So yeah, but anyway, that's Glorious by Bernice L. McFadden. I would say yes, in this book again, she teaches us how to write. She teaches us character building. She teaches us setting, which is very important to these stories. So yeah, check this one out. My book club read Things Fall Apart by Chibi. And I had a hard time with this book, to be honest, because I listened to it on audio instead of reading the book. And I know I was asking for advice, and Dee Dee said, why don't you try reading and listening at the same time? But before I knew it, the CD was over. The book was over on audio. But when I met with my book club, they gave me a whole new insight on this story. And then I realized how much I actually did glean from it. We had a really, really good discussion, even though everyone didn't finish the book. And there were several other people that said that they actually read the book and had a hard time getting into it initially. But we had a really, really good conversation on this book. So maybe sometime in the future, I'll go back and actually sit and read it instead of just listening to it and see what else I get out of it. But in the end, I think that after meeting with my book club, the book wasn't as bad as I initially thought. I started reading Queen Mother's book, Becoming, but I put it down because my book club said, oh, let's discuss the book for Black History Month. And so I put it down because I want my thoughts about the book to be fresh when we discuss it. So I stopped reading for a while, and I picked up during that time Influenced by Carl Weber. Even if I'm in a reading slump, Carl Weber seems to get me through. I don't know why, but it's because of the nonsense and foolishness that he writes, and I'm all for nonsense and foolishness. So I read that book, and he's introduced us to a new family in Influence. They're the Hudson family, and they are attorneys, and they are a hot mess. So yeah, I did that one, and then I realized I wasn't reading anything. I just said, okay, I'm not reading. I'm done for the year. But then I realized that I have a book club meeting on January 6th, and the book we're reading is kind of thick, so I needed to get to it. It is Island Beneath the Sea by Isabel Allende. And this book is about slaves in Haiti. And I don't think I've really read a lot of books about the slave trade in the Caribbean and how, I know that there's a tremendous influence of the slave trade in the Caribbean, don't get me wrong, but I have not really read any of the books. So yeah, this one's about Haiti, and I've just started it. I'm only on page 23, but I was at the salon when I started reading this book, and I always take a book. I always take a book to the salon, always. So when I opened up the book and started reading, I was like, okay, I'm hooked. And hopefully it won't take me that long to read it, but it's a thick, and y'all know these thick books, Also, my book club, we did a scavenger hunt at our book club party. We actually had it at a bookstore, Joe's Bookstore, which I've shown on my channel here before. But we did a scavenger hunt hosted by author Mark Allen Gunnels, and my team won. And I got we split a gift card, and so I ended up getting The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I'd been wanting to read that book, so that's the book that I got with my gift card. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you? Showed you the books. I'm going to do, I think, 3 more videos to close out the year. My 2018 reading wrap-up, my 2018 reading goal review, and my 2019 reading goals. So those will be the last 3 books videos that I post on the channel for this year. I see that you all are posting Vlogmas videos, so I'm going to try to go back and catch up on those. Not only have I not been, posting myself, I've watched videos here and there, but I haven't been watching a lot So I got to go back and catch up on all your videos. So I will talk to you all soon, and thank you for hanging in there with me during my hiatus, and I'll see you later. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.